Biden finally quit and he caved in. Now Kamala is the nominee. Welcome to episode 10 of Political Palette. This is Maddie, your host for this episode today. Hope everybody's having a glorious Friday, or whenever you're listening to this podcast, everywhere you get your podcast. We have some huge news today. So pretty much after multiple episodes talking a little bit about Joe Biden potentially dropping out of the presidential race, what would happen, XYZ, all these different scenarios, right? We even had an episode titled, Can Kamala Harris Win? Well, it turns out that Kamala Harris is now the nominee. Joe Biden dropped down as president, and a press statement saying the following. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world, and we've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, and lowering prescription drug costs for seniors and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it is my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today, and I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. Now take a listen to the official address to the nation that he was talking about. I'm going to play the whole thing in its entirety so you can hear a little bit about what his opinion is and what all he has to say. Also, following this announcement, he swiftly endorsed Kamala Harris as our next president as the nominee for the Democratic Party. Kamala won all of the delegates already, and voting is set to take place officially in August for the delegation. Listen to Biden's full speech in its entirety. If you'd like to skip it, it is 11 minutes in length, so just skip 11 minutes in your audio player.
President Biden.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice. Franklin Roosevelt, who inspired us to reject fear. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think is more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures. It's about we, the people. We can never forget that. And I never have. I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division. We have to decide, do we still believe in honesty, decency, respect, freedom, justice, and democracy? In this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that? Does character in public life still matter? I believe I know the answer to these questions because I know you, the American people. And I know this: we are a great nation because we are good people. When you elected me to this office, I promised to always level with you, to tell you the truth. And the truth, the sacred cause of this country, is larger than any one of us. And those of us who cherish that cause cherish it so much. A cause of American democracy itself must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. There's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now. Over the next 6 months, I'll be focused on doing my job as president. That means I'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families, grow our economy. I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights, from the right to vote to the right to choose. I'll keep calling out hate and extremism. Make it clear there is no place in America for political violence or any violence ever, period. I'm going to keep speaking out to protect our kids from gun violence. Our planet from climate crisis is the existential threat. And I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it. I'm going to call for Supreme Court reform because this is critical to our democracy, Supreme Court reform. You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong, secure, and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine and doing more damage. We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working to end the war in Gaza, bring home all the hostages, and bring peace and security to the Middle East and end this war. We're also working around the clock to bring home Americans being unjustly detained all around the world. You know, we've come so far since my inauguration. On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in the century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. We came together as Americans. We got through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record. Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're literally rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of the most significant laws helping millions of veterans and their families who are exposed to toxic materials. You know, most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. The first major gun safety law in 30 years. And today, the violent crime rate is at a 50-year low. We're also securing our border. Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office. I've kept my commitment to appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I also kept my commitment to have an administration that looks like America and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea. An idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it, to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I do not believe the American people will walk away from it now. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice. I've made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President, Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. Now the choice is up to you, the American people. When you make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office, alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. Whether we keep our republic is now in your hands. My fellow Americans, it's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter, from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America. We're a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people. I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
And honestly, his voice sounded a little hoarse there, the whole broadcast. I mean, to be honest, it was a little bit sad to listen to, you know? Biden, he devoted his whole life to serving America. But after this, I'd like to continue from his heartfelt 11-minute speech. He announced his decision to step down from the 2024 presidential race and endorse Vice President Kamala Harris as his successor. This historic moment has set the stage for a new chapter in the Democratic campaign, and it's crucial to understand the implications and what's happening next. Kamala Harris has swiftly moved to consolidate her position as the Democratic nominee. Her announcement to run was met with significant support, and she has already secured endorsements from over 2,600 delegates, surpassing the required 1,976 delegates needed to become the presumptive nominee. This overwhelming support places her in a strong position ahead of the DNC, scheduled from August the 19th to the 22nd, where she will officially become the party's nominee. Following Biden's endorsement, Harris's campaign has gained tremendous momentum. Within 24 hours of her announcement, her campaign raised a record-breaking $81 million, showcasing the robust financial backing and enthusiasm among Democratic supporters. This financial boost is pivotal as it provides her campaign with the resources needed to compete effectively against the Republican nominee. In her statement, Harris expressed gratitude for Biden's endorsement and emphasized her commitment to earning the nomination and uniting the party. She highlighted Biden's extraordinary leadership and her intent to build on his legacy, while addressing critical issues facing the nation. Now, the Democratic Party is focused on navigating this unprecedented transition. Democratic National Committee Chairman Jamie Harrison stated that the party will follow established rules and procedures in order to ensure a transparent and orderly process. The goal is to present a united front capable of defeating Trump in November. However, it's not all smooth sailing. Harris faces challenges, including potential competition from other prominent Democrats who were previously seen as possible candidates. But as this recording, actually, these possible candidates already endorsed Kamala Harris, including just today, this morning, I believe around 5 in the morning today on Friday, Obama and Michelle both endorsed Kamala Harris officially. Harris's campaign will likely focus on key issues, such as national protection for abortion rights, addressing climate change, and continuing the fight for social equality and justice. Her previous work as vice president and her advocacy for these issues will be central to her campaign message. As we move forward, all eyes are on Kamala as she takes on this new challenge. The coming weeks will be crucial as she supports rallies, finalizes her campaign strategy, and prepares for the DNC. Now, I wanted to talk, since we're talking about Kamala now, because I didn't really want to waste too much time in the show really talking about Biden and all this stuff going on with him, you know. I mean, he's still president of the United States. I mean, I haven't really heard from him that much. He's kind of there, but he's also not there. So, you know, that's a whole thing within itself. But I did want to say, and I want to keep this blunt, right? I feel like now all the ammo really needs to be focused on Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, right? We can't continue to talk about Joe Biden, right? But wait, one person forgot this whole thing in the midst of everything, right? Guess who that person is? Donald Trump. He's still talking about Joe over on Truth Social, still berating him and calling him old sleepy Joe, among other things, when really, if he wants to win this election, he should be going against Harris. But, you know, who knows? I mean, strategies haven't necessarily been his strong suit, right? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about Kamala. So let's go to this next segment about, pretty much, we're going to talk a little bit about how the Trump administration is scared, and they're scared of Kamala, and they do not want to debate her. I'll be right back after this message from our sponsor, Empower United.
Discover Empower United, a beacon of hope and empowerment for LGBTQ+ youth. We are dedicated to providing the support, advocacy, and resources necessary to uplift and inspire our community. Our mission is to create a world where every LGBTQ+ young person feels valued, accepted, and empowered to reach their full potential. At Empower United, we offer a variety of programs and services designed to address the unique challenges faced by LGBTQ+ youth. We need your help to continue our vital work. By donating as little as $5, you can make a significant impact on the lives of LGBTQ+ youth. Visit empowerunited.org today to learn more about our programs and to make your donation.
Welcome back to Political Palette. Hope everybody's having a great week. Let's dive now into the next segment. President Trump, known for his bold rhetoric and combative debate style, has suddenly shown reluctance to face Vice President Kamala Harris in the upcoming debates. This unexpected turn of events has stirred significant controversy and speculation about Trump's motives and strategy. Trump had initially agreed to participate in a debate scheduled for September 10th, hosted by ABC News. However, following President Biden's statement that he would not seek re-election and his endorsement of Harris, Trump began to express reservations about the debate format and host. He criticized ABC, calling it fake news, and suggested that the debate should instead be hosted by Fox News. This sudden change of heart led to widespread criticism and accusations of cowardice. Harris's campaign was quick to seize the moment, with Harris herself mocking Trump on social media. She referenced his earlier bravado about debating anytime, any place, and questioned why he was now backing out. This line of attack was echoed by many political commentators and analysts who accused Trump of being afraid to face Harris on the debate stage. The controversy has only intensified with statements from Trump's campaign communications director Stephen Chung, who claimed there was chaos within the Democratic Party and suggested it was inappropriate to finalize debate details until after the DNC. However, many saw this as a thinly veiled attempt to manipulate the debate conditions in Trump's favor. Political analysts have pointed out that Trump's hesitation might stem from a fear of being outperformed by Harris, who is known for her sharp debating skills and ability to effectively communicate policy issues. Trump's reluctance has drawn comparisons to his previous avoidance of debates with other formidable opponents during the GOP primaries, reinforcing the perception that he is trying to avoid a potentially challenging encounter. Despite the backlash, some Trump supporters argued that his strategy is justified, claiming that the debate conditions and media bias are legitimate concerns. However, this perspective has not quelled the widespread criticism from both political opponents within his own party. So as we look ahead, the question remains, will Trump ultimately agree to debate Harris, or will he continue to seek changes that might tilt the scales in his favor? The next few weeks will be crucial in determining the dynamics of this high-stakes political showdown. Now, Kamala Harris has already made history as the first woman and woman of color to be elected vice president. With President Biden stepping down and endorsing her, she has a unique opportunity to solidify her place as the Democratic nominee and possibly the next president of the United States. However, to truly strengthen her campaign and appeal to a broader base, picking a strong vice president is crucial. Enter Josh Shapiro, the current governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro brings a wealth of experience and proven track record of winning tough elections. He secured his governorship by defeating Doug Mastriano, a Trump-endorsed candidate, in 2022. His ability to win in a key battleground state like Pennsylvania makes him an invaluable asset to Harris's campaign. Shapiro's moderate stance and his capacity to work across party lines could appeal to a broad spectrum of voters, including independents and moderate Republicans. His practical approach to governance and his focus on issues like education, healthcare, and economic development resonate well with many voters who are looking for stability and pragmatic solutions. Moreover, Pennsylvania's significance in the Electoral College cannot be overstated. Winning Pennsylvania is also often seen as pivotal for any presidential candidate. By choosing Shapiro as her running mate, Harris would signal a strong commitment to securing this crucial swing state, potentially tipping the scales in her favor come November. Additionally, Shapiro's background as a former state attorney general aligns well with Harris's own career trajectory. This shared experience in law enforcement and their mutual dedication to justice and civil rights could create a compelling narrative for their campaign. Shapiro's Jewish heritage could also help galvanize the Jewish electorate, adding another layer of support to Harris's candidacy. However, it's not just about geographical and demographic advantages. Shapiro's recent endorsement of Harris and his public commitment to supporting her campaign demonstrate a united front that is essential for the Democratic Party as it gears up to face a highly charged election season. Now, I also wanted to say that Shapiro's appeal extends beyond Pennsylvania. His focus on key issues such as education, healthcare, and economic development positions him as a candidate who understands and prioritizes the needs of everyday Americans. His background as a former state attorney general also complements Harris's. But why is this ticket so compelling that even moderate Republicans could find it appealing? It comes down to three main factors, and I've been able to completely break these down here for you for the show. So let's begin. Moderation, experience, and strategic significance. Both Harris and Shapiro have shown an ability to work across party lines and get things done. This is a breath of fresh air in today's highly polarized political climate. They represent a move towards the center, where many American voters find themselves. Harris's tenure as vice president and Shapiro's governance in Pennsylvania provide a strong foundation of leadership and experience. And winning Pennsylvania is often seen as crucial for any presidential candidate. Now, I wanted to pause the show a little bit to tell you about my brand new book. It's called Political Palette. Nah, I'm joking. I don't have a book. Not yet. I mean, if I got a book, hey, something happened there, but no, I don't have a book. But you know what? You could help me. Leave a review over on the platform where you listen to me, and make sure to subscribe and share the podcast with your friends. And family, of course, and if you have a cat named Milo, share it with him or her. But hey, I just want to also say you could send in a 90-second clip over at speakpipe.com/politicalpalette. Let me know. What do you think about what I'm saying? What do you think about Kamala Harris? What do you think about Donald Trump? I want to hear it all. So go to speakpipe.com/politicalpalette and submit your voice message today so we can continue supporting this show. Now, as we conclude this show, I want to talk about one more thing. Yep, one more thing. And this is not Steve Jobs saying it. So let's talk about an exciting development in Pennsylvania. Under Governor Josh Shapiro's leadership, which I believe is not only a significant boost for the state, but also an inspiring example of innovative governance. Governor Shapiro recently unveiled new license plates and highway welcome signs as part of the Pennsylvania The Great American Getaway tourism branding campaign. These Let Freedom Ring designs celebrate Pennsylvania as the birthplace of American democracy and highlight the state's crucial role in the upcoming 250th anniversary of the United States in 2026. This initiative is more than just a facelift for the state's infrastructure. It represents a strategic effort to bolster Pennsylvania's tourism industry, which is currently a vital component of the state's economy. In 2022 alone, the tourism sector generated $76 billion in economic impact, supported nearly 487,000 jobs, and contributed $4.7 billion in state and local taxes. By revamping the branding and aesthetics of state symbols, Shapiro is effectively enhancing Pennsylvania's appeal as a premier destination for tourists. The new license plates and welcome signs feature the Liberty Bell, replacing the older designs with something that strongly signifies Pennsylvania's historic and cultural significance. This redesign is aimed at reinforcing the state's identity and pride, especially as it prepares to be a central hub for the 250th anniversary celebrations of American independence. And what I find particularly cool about this initiative is that its potential to drive economic growth and attract more visitors. With nearly 72 million people living within a 4-hour drive of Pennsylvania's diverse attractions, from historical sites to world-class restaurants and outdoor recreation, this new branding could significantly boost local businesses and communities. Moreover, Shapiro's proactive approach demonstrates his understanding of the importance of tourism and its economic benefits. By focusing on improving the state's image and accessibility, he's not just promoting tourism, but also investing in the state's prosperity. This kind of forward-thinking governance is exactly what Pennsylvania needs, and it's something that even those across the political aisle can appreciate for its practical benefits and positive impact on the state's economy. Governor Shapiro's efforts to rebrand Pennsylvania with new license plates and welcome signs are a brilliant move. It's a project that celebrates the state's rich history while strategically positioning it for future growth. This is the kind of leadership that can bring people together, boost the economy, and showcase the best of what Pennsylvania has to offer. So are you sold yet? Harris-Shapiro. I feel like Harris-Shapiro would be an incredible ticket. And honestly, I've talked to some people who either wouldn't have voted before or want to vote this election cycle but don't like Trump. A lot of independents, a lot of moderate Republicans who are not far right and into occult conspiracy theory. Those people are all going to be loving the Harris-Shapiro ticket, and a lot of those people I spoke to personally. This is not just me saying this just to say it. I've spoke to people, friends and family, who agree that Harris-Shapiro could be a potential good pick for this upcoming election cycle. But I'd like to talk a little bit more in the future about like what Kamala's going to pick as her VP, right? I mean, I know we want Shapiro, but who knows? She can go with someone like Mark Kelly, I believe their name is, from Arizona, right? We'd have to evaluate these different decisions and see what it all means and boil it down, right? But at the end of the day, we got to really look at things for what it is. And speaking of unity, I feel like the Democrats showed incredibly strong unity. I mean, instead of playing around and finding another nominee, that would have only hurt their opportunity to win. And it was a good decision to go ahead, let Kamala take the reins and pretty much just start her campaign right now and start it strong. And actually this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, over 2,300 campaign events are scheduled, some of them with Kamala in them, some virtual events, some in-person events, and we could also see former presidents at these events. So I'd say stay tuned, see what happens. But hey, the unity and excitement in the Democrat Party has never been higher. It looks like a Clinton moment all over again. Thank you for listening to this episode of Political Palette, everybody. I'm Matthew, and I hope you have a tremendous weekend ahead. You can follow me at Matty Unhinged on all social media and Matty.Unhinged on Instagram.